Are we live? Ooh, got it. This
All
meeting
right.
is being live streamed. I think we are live. And this meeting is being recorded. Wonderful. So
Good morning, everyone.
welcome everyone to session 2 of the Land Profit Masterclass. Super excited to have you guys here with us today. I just want to, express my gratitude and really honor you. I have been last night and this morning inside of the post, the homework post, reviewing your whys, and so many of you, have really dug deep. I can feel that as you were writing that, there was probably tears, there's probably, a lump in your throat. And that's what the why should be about. That why should really connect deeply, to something that really matters, that it's important to you, so that whenever challenges come about, that we can reconnect and have that why be the fuel that helps us push forward no matter what's happening, and helps us also push forward with courageous choices each and every single day. So thank you. I can see so many of you already getting clarity, just from those homework posts. We have a winner for the homework post. I believe the winner for the book bundle for yesterday's homework post is Mr. Eddie Young. So Eddie, congratulations. And I see so many of you already coming in here. So say hello. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Hey, Lydia. Hey, John,
Hey,
Kevin.
Kobe, Jennifer, Greg, Joel, Kevin, Santa. Hey, Santa Coleman.
Santa Coleman is also here. Awesome.
We got Santa in the house, so we're super excited. Put in the chat box, guys. Good morning, everyone. I see you guys are streaming into the chat box. I see that. It's exciting. Zach says good morning. Brad, Vanessa, B. Nunez, Eric. Okay, fantastic. So we are super excited to be here today. We're getting to see your transformation yesterday, getting to see those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments there, and plus probably thousands of comments right here, seeing the homework you posted, and this is live. We're seeing lives being changed right now.
Yeah.
We're seeing lives being changed. The barriers are being broken with land flipping, which is very simply the best and simplest method in real estate investing out there. We're going to go into a couple of recaps a couple more times today, just to make sure everyone really understands it. But then we're also moving into session 2 here, which is the nitty gritty of how to do these things. We're going to do a reverse engineering of exactly how to get to your goals, how to get those lists, how to value properties. We're going to talk about a ton of the offers. We're going to go today is a deep dive into the subject matter. So please make sure you stay all the way to the end, and also make sure that you put tomorrow and Thursday on the calendar, because tomorrow is all about, let me just look at it again.
Tomorrow's creating your land cash machine is basically laying out 4 quarters and really 90-day sprints of how you're actually going to execute and implement on the material that we're covering during this week. Right. So that it's not just pie in the sky, but you're actually doing the work. So that's going to be super important.
And then Thursday is probably one of the most crucial days, because we're going to talk about how to make this ka-ching, how to sell these properties, how to list the properties, how to sell the properties, and how to make it rain in your life. Who wants to make it rain in your life? Give me a heck yes, right? Put it in the chat box here. Put it in the chat box. Go there and give us a heck yes if you want to make it rain in your life. If you want to have those
cash confidence. I saw so many of you also posting cash confidence with the hashtag. Thank you so much. Somebody in our team is going to be reaching out to you, sending you a t-shirt, and probably a direct message to get a size. But so excited. Also, there's prices. We continue to have prices. Homework equals money, remember? So let's pull out the workbook, because today you're going to be taking a lot of notes, and we have, I think, still a $200 gift card to Amazon. We have, I think, an Apple phone. We have a scholarship as well towards one of our programs. So you definitely want to make sure that you continue posting in the homework post, because again, it gives our team also an opportunity to guide you, especially today. Like if you've picked like the wrong counties or the wrong things, or you haven't done, you're astray, it's our opportunity to bring you back in the right course with the homework post from today for sure.
Absolutely.
So we have about 60 new people that have joined here inside of the Land Profit Masterclass group. So I want to just very quickly introduce ourselves. We're Michelle, Jack Bosch, co-creators of the Land Profit Generator method. This is a powerhouse method that has been right now transformational, not just to our lives, but to many hundreds of other people out there that are using land flipping, using our method. We have been able to get them faster results than we ever did. And it didn't start that way. It all started with us being really unhappy, uncomfortable, or what do you call it? Comfortably miserable in our jobs.
We have both have college degrees, even both have masters. We then got into the job world, made decent income, but I had 100% travel. Michelle worked in finance, where she had to work, and accounting finance, where she had to work through the weekends, month ends, and things like that. We both were working 60 hours a week. We basically spent our weekends just sleeping or working, and just to be ready for the next week again. And we hated it, right? Yeah. So we started in real estate, we failed forward, we tried house flipping, but house flipping is so freaking complex. There's so much amount of complexity, so much competition that we failed. We got a deal on a contract, we failed at estimating repairs because we didn't know anything about houses, right? We estimated everything wrong. We had to back out of that deal. And then ultimately we came across land flipping, or we created the land flipping space for that matter. We're the OGs of land flipping basically, and created that and built it into a system. And while we still had jobs in our first year, we did 63 deals. And then we finally got our green cards, because remember, we're not from here. I'm from Germany. Michelle's from Honduras, Central America. So we came here with 2 suitcases, a bunch of student debt, and we basically just a big dream. And the big dream was what we talked about yesterday about your reason why. We had a big reason why. We left our families behind in Germany, Michelle left her family behind in Honduras. We didn't want to live on a 2-week vacation and basically never see those families, because with 2 weeks, you can do nothing, right? And
one year we could go to his, and the other year we could go to mine.
Exactly. Like hola catracha, dice Aisha.
Hola, mucho gusto.
So we decided that we need to take our life in our own hands. And we took real estate, we found real estate, we identified real estate, but real estate is not all created equal. There's so many different ways of real estate, super complicated ways, like multifamily and so on, where it's like 3.2 million times more complicated than land flipping. Yeah. And even house flipping, super competition and everything. Yeah. And land flipping is the gap in the market. Like there's tons of buyers, there's hundreds of thousands of sellers out there that don't want their properties anymore, and there's millions of buyers out there that want a piece of land. And what we do is we find the ones that don't want them anymore, get their properties for 5 to 40 cents on the dollar, and then turn around and sell them for 50 to 70 cents of wholesale, or 70 to 100% of market value with seller financing, as we talked about yesterday, and even make land cash flow. So we built it up to 63 deals in the first year, 150 deals in the second year. Then we put together huge land auctions where we would buy 250 properties a quarter and put together a big land auction where we would sell them all in one day and make multi-million dollars in profits in one day when we sold these properties. But then the market changed. 2008 came along, right? And the market changed. Well, everyone lost their shirt. We didn't. Our properties continued selling, but the way we sold it changed. We started now going on the internet. And while I understand not everyone can go and put up an auction of like $200,000 auction and sell 250 properties in a day, what we discovered was that once we went online and sold these properties on different platforms, which is what we're going to talk about on Thursday, right? So make sure you're there on Thursday. Then all of a sudden it became replicatable and everyone out there could do it. And it was simple to do because you can do it from the comfort of your home. And in that moment, we had reached our financial goals. Yeah. We had reached our number, right? We're living in the custom home, right? We were having generational wealth. We were having $70,000, $71,000 a month in cash flow coming into our bank account every single month from land payments.
We were
from
only in our early 30s.
And Michelle was in her 20s, and I was in the late 20s. I was in my early 30s. And what do you do then when you have an entire lifetime in front of you and your financial goals are set? Something interesting happens at that point. You actually start changing your vision from just yourself to the world out there. And we literally did, we looked around and decided, man, nobody knows this technique even exists. Nobody even does that. we need to go and share this.
Yeah.
And that's when we decided that we're going to share this. That's when we created our land profit methods. And that is our why. Our goal is to create 1,000 millionaires in the next 2 years, right? It doesn't make a difference in our life if you guys get successful, but it makes a difference in our legacy.
Yeah.
So we want to leave a legacy for that of your guys' success. We want to put the dent in the universe and be able to say that you and your children, your grandchildren's life will completely be different because of this method that we figured out and that we're sharing. That's why we're doing this here, guys.
And I just wanted to say that, you know, as you can see, we've had the privilege and honor to do business and conduct this business in large scale. But it didn't start like that. We started, you know, all these fancy things that Jack just described came from failure, came from making mistakes, came from trial and error for almost 3 years. And so we are just like you, you know, we're no different than you. We're just a few steps ahead of you. And it is our, like I said, honor and privilege to now share this with all of you and be on a mission to create 1,000 millionaires.
Because right now what we've created is this replicatable, simple system that everyone can do from the comfort of their home and sell these properties individual, one by one, through the internet, and which is what we're going to cover tomorrow. And I can't wait for some of you guys, to ask, for somebody to ask you one day, hey, how did you, when you contribute like a 6-figure amount or something like that to your charity of choice or so, what was somebody might come up to you and say like, what was the turning point in your life? And you turn back and you think of us. Now,
or you start saying, I flip dirt.
I flip dirt.
Or your kid gets asked, what does your parent do for a living? Are they a doctor? Are they a hotshot attorney? No, they're going to say, my parents flip dirt.
Right.
You know?
And so like you would say, like, I can remember the moment when I pivoted to profits, right? The time that I focused, the time that I committed to the land profit methods and started creating those 6-figure incomes. That time is right now. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So we're super excited.
Yeah.
So
another thing that I just wanted to add is that the land profit generator method is a method that does not discriminate, whether you're old, young, you know, with limited English. I mean, we've seen amazing humans, superhumans, you know, from all walks of life, you know, retired teachers, nurses, stay-at-home moms, single moms, engineers, doctors, dentists, people from just all walks of life, making it their own and really building a legacy of entrepreneurship and a financial freedom inside of their families. So I just wanted to say it's incredibly forgiving, and it does not discriminate. And that's something that for me, you know, it's super important. So you're in the right place if you're a beginning investor. If you're already an investor that is doing deals or has deals on the contract and has that frustration and overwhelm of not being able to sell them, you're in the right place. If you're ready to scale, you know, you're in the right place. That's what we specialize. We have built a 1-year, you know, incubator that is the #1 incubator of land flipping businesses on the planet, without question. And I can say that with conviction and with all accuracy because our results speak for ourselves. And so you're in good company. Thank you for being here. Let's dive right into mastering and scaling lead generation.
Before we do that, I actually want to introduce a couple of our team members right now. Quickly, I want to make sure that you guys know who our concierges are, because again, obviously there's only 2 of us.
We
so
have a
500
special
of
guest
you guys here.
Today as
we'll do that in a moment too. But first, let's do our concierges are here. We have Jennifer Clark. Jennifer, can you quickly say hello?
Hey everyone, welcome. It's great to see you all here live, and I've been chatting with so many of you on DM, and I'm here if you have any questions.
All right, then we have right next to her, on my screen at least, we have Sarah Wilcox. Sarah, can you unmute yourself and quickly say hello?
Hey, how are you guys? I'm super stoked to be here. Excited to see a lot of the people I've talked to in here as well. Message me also if y'all have any questions.
All right, yes, here, use just the messages here in the Zoom call and direct message. Or if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you also direct message there, put a comment there.
And we're bringing our team, you know, and we're bringing a panel of coaches to you guys, and we're bringing our head coach. And that's because there's about 3,000 of you that have registered for this masterclass, and there's only 2 of you. So 2 of us, I'm sorry, 2 of us. So you need to use and abuse the team with any questions, with any implementation as it affects or as it, you know, how to customize it to your life, to the realities that you're seeing on the ground in your life. Yeah.
Because this business is the only real estate method out there that literally can be customized around your current lifestyle. And I'll talk about that in more detail in just a moment. We also have Shelly Rawlings here. Shelly, how are you doing today? And go ahead.
Good. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you guys back for day number 2. Super stoked today. I know it's, afternoon time here. It's morning time for those of you on the West Coast, but we're all happy that you guys were able to sacrifice time today. Super happy to see all you guys back. And like, the rest of us have been saying, if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. Sounds good. Then we have Mr. David Van coming up here. David, how are you doing?
Awesome. I'm really excited about this, guys. I was just on the other side of the screen here not so long ago. Okay. I've even taken this much notes today, guys. We got Mike Smyer coming up. I literally can't wait for that. I'm a full-time land flipper. I'm here to help during the process this week. And I'm just really excited to be here. So you can do it. This is fun. And let's get to it. I'm excited.
All right, and last but not least, we have Michael Bolbach here, actually Michael Robert, as he is on Facebook.
Mike
There's,
Manhattan, as we call him in the team.
Our Manhattan Mike, or
Manhattan
Magic Mike.
That's
So,
right. Manhattan
ahead.
Mike, Magic Mike, whatever you want to call me. Actually, I think Mike Smyer is Magic Mike now.
That's right, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
guys,
true.
I'm super excited today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad to see we've got over 434 people watching on Zoom, which is incredible. So pat yourselves on the back for
Right.
being here today and taking in all the knowledge.
And we
So,
got
yeah,
another 100
any
people
questions?
right here on Facebook too.
And
So
another 100
uh,
people on Facebook. It's crazy. So this is great. And we're here to answer questions and help out and support you guys. So let's get
right.
to it.
fantastic. And then we have a special guest today, which is Mr. Mike Smyer. Mike is our head coach. And Mike, introduce yourself quickly. And also Mike is doing in his own business around 100 or more than 100 deals a year. So Mike, quickly say a few words and then we'll get it started and then you'll have you chime in as we go along.
Beautiful. What's happening, everybody? I'm Mike Smyer. I flip land. I'm a retired house flipper. I used to flip a lot of houses, 50, 60, 70, 80 a year. And I came over from the dark side and now I flip land and I do about 100 deals a year. Next year, we'll do 277 deals or more.
All right, 277 deals. And he has that specific number in the mind because he has a specific number in mind. So he's reverse engineering, which is exactly what we're going to do today for you and your own business too. So that's it. Let's go. It's time to grab your workbook, guys. Right? It's time you grab your workbook. Michelle, is there anything else you wanted to cover?
No, we're
Time
ready.
to grab your workbook. It's session number 2. If you don't have a workbook, again, make sure you put it in here so the team can share the link to you, can send you a direct message, or you're watching this in Facebook. Make sure you also comment here if you need your workbook, or if you're in Facebook, just go to the very top of the Facebook group, the Land Profit Masterclass group, and under guides, you will find the workbook there. So then you can download it there. So let's go. So first question here, what are the top 2 ways to scale your lead generation machine and tap into millions of deals? Another way to phrase that question is, where the heck do we get those leads from? People were asking that yesterday. Is like, where do I understand how to select counties, but where do we get those leads from? Remember yesterday we talked about the counties. We talked about that they should be like out either inside or in the path of growth of larger cities, or the rural areas that have something attractive to offer to, that are growing, where the price ranges are a certain range. We went through several criteria, right? So now that you identified perhaps some of them, and that'll be the homework today,
Yeah.
right? Then, or perhaps you have already, perhaps you're an action taker who has already selected some counties, you've already done some of
Yeah,
these steps. Put it
Ayana.
in there, put it in there. I see Ayana,
Dwayne and Cindy, awesome.
put it in there. I have, fantastic. You guys are action takers. Great, but if you have not, don't worry about it. You will do it today, right? You'll do it today. There's a whole bunch of people who have done this already. Fantastic, guys. So I couldn't be happier. So the answer is, where do we get them from? There's 3 places you get this data from. Number 1, list brokers.
Yeah.
Number 2, counties, and number 3, title companies. Most people will start with the list brokers at the beginning, and there's a good reason for that. And that is very simply that at a list broker, you can get 100 leads, 1,000 leads, or 10,000 leads, whatever you want. You just usually pay by the lead. So it's a very inexpensive way, because each leads usually only cost a few cents. It's a very inexpensive way and a direct and a quick way to get those leads. Literally, once you selected your counties, you can go this afternoon, set up an account with one of these services and get your leads right away. So again, list brokers, counties, and title companies. So the second way is, and there's lots of list brokers out there. We even have a software that has integrated a list broker that you can get data through. And like list of services like CoreLogic, DataTree, and things like that are out there. So the thing is, the second one is the county. Now the county is really, if you think about it, the mothership of all the data, because the county has the information about who owns the property, how long have they owned the property, what's the assessed value of the property, what's the legal description of the property, all this kind of piece of information. So typically our students pick the counties as the source a little bit later, once you're through that beginning test phase that we talked about yesterday. Right? Yesterday we talked about you picking 6 to 8 counties, you're going to the test phase, and that some counties are going to be horrible, some counties are going to be okay, and some counties are going to be great. Well, once you're through that test phase and you identified the counties where you're getting your great response rates from, where you get deals accepted from, where you make great profits from, that's when you then go and pick the county and go to the county and get the entire database from the county.
Actually, Mike also will be teaching on Tracking What Matters on Friday,
Right.
exactly how to track and make sure that you're able to identify before you even send your first mailing out, you know, how to make sure that you're going to be able to look at your results and pinpoint which are the counties that are the go-to, the gold gems, basically the gold gems within that first testing phase, for sure.
Right, exactly right. So Mike, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, a couple things. One, not all list brokers are created equal, right? I remember the first time I attended one of y'all's seminars, right? I think it was in Orlando. And though I was still flipping houses at the time, Jack, and one of the gold nuggets that I picked up ended up saving me thousands of dollars in data cost and in mailing cost, you know? So not all of them are created equal, and we really dial in and spend a whole lot of time. Michelle and I were just messaging. It was like 10 p.m. Michelle and I were just messaging about one the other night, right? And dialing that process in just even further. So one, not all of them are created equal, right? We try to just hand pick the best ones and then pass them off to people. That's the only thing I'd like to add to that.
Right, wonderful. And Edgar is asking, who do you ask at the county? The assessor, because you're getting the list of the assessment roll. So you're asking the county assessor, appraiser, or in Texas called the appraisal district for that, right? So the second way you get these, the second way to scale your lead generation machine and tap into millions of leads is actually what you do, depends on what you do with those lists that you get them, right? So here's the thing, can you get a list in a paper format and then you kind of like go one by one and type them up and it's going to take you years to get 10 letters out? Yes, but that wouldn't be efficient, right? That wouldn't be efficient. That would be actually quite stupid. So don't do that, right? So
that would be movement and action. It would just be busy movement, not critical movement.
So instead, what you want to, of course, you want to get in an electronic format, but then what you do with it is the thing. If you have a job and you're working 10 hours a day, you don't have the time to go and process it. So you want to delegate, automate the filters, right? We have people in our universe that you can send a list, and for $20, they go turn around and give you that list exactly as if Michelle and I would have filtered that list and then have it ready for you to send out letters, right? So there's this available. Plus also do you want to send out letters yourself? Do you want to have actually sit around the table and print on your little, the printer?
Which we have done in the past, by the way. I've licked thousands and thousands of envelopes.
Right, but obviously that was not the best use of
our time. You don't want to do the
right?
mistakes that we've made.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead, what you want to do is you want to delegate certain tasks to professionals out there, right? You want to have a relationship with a mailing house that you have your list that you have your 1,000 letters that you want to send out, or 1,000 data records, and you have your letter, and you basically just send them to a mailing house and they mail them out for you, which by the way, they can do cheaper than actually you stuffing, folding and stamping and printing those letters at home, right? As soon as you do a higher number. By the way, guys, just want to remind you, if you came in a little later and you see us as a screen of 25 people on this thing there, go to the top right under view and change us to speaker view, right? If you see us big on the screen, all good. That's exactly how it's supposed to be, right? But if you came in later and you weren't, or you left or you changed it or something like that, make sure you go to the top right of the screen under view and change it to speaker view so you can see us. You don't have the distraction of 25 people on the thing, or you don't see us as tiny. If I want to show something with my hands, which I tend to do a lot with my hands, I talk with my hands, then you at least see it all a little bit bigger. Or if we have we do a little drawing, it's kind of hard to see and so on. Right? So make sure you put it up in the speaker thing. So again, delegate. You want to have you also. The next question is, how do you escalate that? How do you escalate, or how do you scale the lead generation and actually that the lead flow coming into you, right? Not just with a mailing house, but then also, let's say here's the thing: we are the only method in the world that we will warn you not to do what the house flippers do. The house flippers send something like Mike in the house flipping days. You or your friends in the industry, if you wanted to do 100 deals a year, how many mail pieces did you need to send out per month?
Oh man, 50,000 back in my day is probably right now per month. Now it's probably closer to 150,000.
So in order to, now this is the house flippers, guys, house flippers, not us, right? So if you send out 50,000 mail pieces, well, you know what's going to happen? You're going to get slammed with phone calls. Right? You're not going to be able to catch up with those phone calls. You're not going to be able to keep up with those phone calls. So we're the only method out there that says actually don't send out too many letters, because you're going to get, our average response rate is anywhere between after you've done your testing, of course, right? In the beginning, there's some counties where you get a below 1% response rate, no question, of course, right? But once you've done your testing, what we talked about yesterday, it is not uncommon to get a response rate of 3, 4, 5, or even up to 10%. Out there. So if you send 50,000 letters and you get a 5% response rate, guess what? You get 2,500 phone calls coming in.
Yeah.
Right? 2,500 phone calls, meaning make 2,500 offers, which also, by the way, means you might get 50 deals accepted from that, which would be exciting, right? But it would overwhelm you at the beginning. So make sure you do this. You follow our guidelines for that. So, but most importantly, even if you just send a few thousand letters, you don't want to pick up those phone calls. You want to have a call center do it. So when we work with our students in our one-year program, we have them set up a mailing house, a call center, a phone system, a virtual mailbox, all those different things, such that you can continue living your lifestyle and have deals come in while you take care of the kids, while you bring the kids to school, while you have dinner with friends, while you have those things, because that's one of the most important things in our business, that it's really the only real estate method that I've ever found that you can 100% design around your lifestyle.
Definitely. Right. It's a proven method that puts your family first, and it allows you to really go out there and do the things that bring you purpose, man. I mean, it's,
Like we have Aaron, one of our coaches, Aaron, he does like 60 deals a year. He's like, he basically works 2 hours a week, 2 to 3 hours a day on his business in order to do 50 deals a year, 50 to 60 deals a year. Now let's look at the deal. If the average deal is $20,000 for him, you can do the math, right? That's $1 million income on 2 to 3 hours a day. Who wants to do that? Like, give me a heck yes if you want to have $1 million income with 2 to 3 hours a day. Now, it doesn't start like that. Obviously, you got to put a little bit of the work in up front, build those systems, create those systems, put those things in place. But that's exactly what we do with the people that work with us.
Yeah, and it's a matter of figuring out how you can collapse time. Every time that Jack and myself, we start a new business or any new project, we're like, okay, who's the best out there? Who can we model? Who has, what kind of technology, what kind of team, and how can we collapse time so that we can get to basically those results that those people are having in the fastest possible way. Right. So Aaron is definitely one of these masters for sure.
And now for that matter, Mike, you do 100 deals. How many hours a day do you work?
Man, 3.5, 4 hours a day. And then the rest of the day is just kind of doing my thing, Like I act like I work, but I'm on the porch reading a book in my hammock, like at 1 most of the time.
Well, that sounds like
you're working. You're working. I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm doing some work, I promise.
All right. So that's who would like to be on your hammock for half of the day while doing 100 deals? Now, again, Mike has reached mastery, and mastery is what we're talking about
Yeah,
this week, guys.
yeah.
Mastery is about
Actually-
reaching this. Mastery is about creating the income, the wealth, the peace of mind that doesn't depend on who's president, that doesn't depend on whether COVID is high or low, that doesn't depend on anything, that really creates your own economy. Like, actually, well, I want you to put that into the chat box right now. Create your own economy. If you're ready to create your own economy, if you're ready to create abundance into your life, no matter what happens in the world, then this is the method right now.
Yeah.
All right, so now what I wanted to do, now let's get into
Reverse engineering.
into reverse engineering, which is number 2 on the workbook.
Yeah,
And
did
it's
we
like,
cover everything? Yeah.
I
The
believe so,
the
yes.
delegation. So delegation, automation, the list brokers, the mailing houses. This is what's going to be critical for you so that you spend your stuff on the things that actually move the needle most, that actually bring the money in the bank. Yeah.
Right,
So
exactly. Oh, one extra thing, and I saw a question about that earlier, and that was how many letters do you send out to a potential prospect? Do you send out what the house flippers do? They send anywhere between 7 and 15 touch points with them. No, we send out 1 letter, guys. 1 letter.
And at
right?
most, if you wanted to really push up your acceptance rates, maybe a second or even a third.
You could do 2 or 3 if you want to really push it, but most of our students do 1 letter. Mike, how many letters do you send out per student, per seller?
One letter.
1 letter. There we go.
If I'm in a great area that I've identified, I'll do it a couple of times a year, but it's 1 letter.
Exactly, right. And then you repeat it 3-6 months later to get more deals in that area, but you don't need to catch people's attention because remember, we're dealing with the non-wanters. We're dealing in the gap of the real estate market. We're dealing in the area of life where the sellers really don't care about these properties. And plus, they don't have them listed on the market. They're not on the MLS, these properties. They're owned and free and clear because banks traditionally do not lend on land anyway. So the people who buy these properties didn't have a choice but to pay cash for them. So they buy these properties. They own these properties free and clear. They've usually held them for 20, 30 years, or they have passed away and the heirs have them now. Their life plans have changed. They don't care about the property. They're sick and tired of paying property taxes. They don't want these things anymore. And they're not on the market. And they're not distressed. They're not late on mortgages or anything like that. So as a result, nobody knows that these properties are even for sale.
Yeah.
We get those lists from the list broker from the county. We send them a letter, and that in very many cases might be the very first letter that they have received in 20 years about that property. Guess what? They're going to respond to that letter because they're like, great, I want to get rid of this property because I don't have no more use for it. And so as a result, you get those high response rates. Does that make logical sense to you guys?
Yeah.
This entire system is designed logically. They always say like, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's a German-made system, which is not true because it's a Honduran-made
I'm the
system.
German in the family.
And in our
anyways.
family, Michelle is the organized one and I'm the chaotic one. So therefore, it's really a Honduran-made system, but it sounds better to say the German-made, right? So there we go. But it's really for both of us. So either way, so it's logically thought through and it's also thought through to the degree that it's designed to work around your lifestyle. For example, do I want to pick up phone calls all day long? No. Do you want to pick up phone calls all day long?
Or I didn't, I'm
Right.
by nature, I'm an introvert. So I designed this such that I didn't have to do that.
Right. No, so I put it in the chat box. Do you want to pick up phone calls all day long? Or do you want to play with the kids? So you want to sit and lay on the hammock, right? Or you want to go have a drink with your friends? No, right? Exactly. So you don't want to do that. So it's designed such that the phone calls are being taken care of by a voicemail or by a call center, right? Now, if you do, you can obviously pick up the phone. You can design it such that
And you know what?
for
At the
those
beginning, I was scared to death because of my introvertness. The phone would ring and we would like throw the phone. No, you answer it. No, you answer it. And eventually I would answer it. And you know what happened though? And I think, and that's one of the things why I said, this system doesn't discriminate. I was always super conscious that, people would not want to do business with me because of my accent, number one, because I sounded really, really young. I was in my 20s. And will they do they feel like I'm going to lead them to a closing? And there was all this basically crap swimming around my head and excuses and reasons why I couldn't pick up the phone or it might not work. And at the end of the day, that has become one of my biggest strengths is actually talking to people on the phone, whether it be with a seller or with a buyer.
which doesn't mean we do it often, but
Yeah.
if we do, then now it's become a strength, right?
Yeah.
So are we, like, for example, when a house flipper, like if you have a seller if imagine you're a house flipper, right? Like if you imagine your house flipper, if a house flipper, there's like 5,000 house flippers out there chasing 500 houses a year, something like that, right? So if that owner of a house calls you, when is the time to meet that house owner?
Yesterday.
Immediately, right? The time
Yesterday.
to meet the house flipper is immediately. So if you're in the movies with your family and your phone rings and you turn it off and you check the messages after, where's the house flipper, and 2 hours have passed, guess what? Somebody else already met with that house flipper. Guess what? In the land flipping world, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, we only make offers once a week. Once a week. So if somebody calls on, that's Thursday. So if somebody calls us on Friday, they have to wait an entire week until they even receive an offer from us. Why is that? Because there is no other people chasing these properties. The chances are that somebody swipes in and makes an offer right in that week is absolute minuscule. Does it happen occasionally? Yeah, very rarely, but it's absolute minuscule. So as a result, you now can design your life. You can be at dinner with your family. You can be at the movies. Let those phone calls come in, right? Those 3, 4, 5, or even 10% response rates come in, and then address them once a week when the kids are in bed. When you have a few hours time, that's when you do that, which means that you can design this around your life. Who is excited about that, guys? Yeah. That is like one of the least known things about our system, but it's actually one of the most powerful things around your system because it allows you to live a life by design. And who wants a life by design, right? That's what we're talking about here.
So if you right now, after this live, all of a sudden, see an ad to go and get into house flipping, please stop the insanity, stop the madness, stop the entrepreneurial ADD, and focus. We pay for what we want. To see our dreams a reality, we pay for that with attention, with focus. Right. That's the only way. So anyways.
Exactly right. So let's look at the next step. So, and Mike, I would like for you to chime in on that. So let's see, we already established that the average profit is that people have is about $15,000. And then obviously there's some $5,000 deals in there, and there's some $50,000 deals in there. There's some $3,000 deals in there, and there's some $100,000 deals in there. But on average, without overpromising, there's going to be about a $15,000 average deal is absolutely doable in this business, right? So if you do that, and your goal, let's say, is yesterday, the goals that were put out there were all over the place. For some of you, it's 100,000, for some 200, for some 500, for some 3 million. We're going to pick a middle of the road goal of $500,000. Now we have tons of students who have accomplished that, right? You'll actually hear from them later in the week. I think one of them is even going to be on a session tomorrow, I believe, or so. Yeah. But we're going to have students that you'll hear from this week that are on track for like $800,000 in the year, on track for $1.2 million in the year, on track for $400,000 in the year, and so on. So let's say if your goal is like $500,000, let's break it down into how that would happen. So Mike, if you do it, we'll go play ping pong here. If the average profit is $15,000 and you want to make $500,000, how many deals does that equal to?
That's 33 deals that put you $5,000 short, I believe, Jack. So,
all right, so that's $5,000. We can round up. That's a rounding error at the $500,000 level. Okay, so let's do 33 deals a year, and that equals about how many deals a month?
How many deals a month? Well, what is that? Like three deals? That's less than 3 deals a month. No. It's 4 deals a month. No, 3 deals a month.
3 deals a month.
Right, you don't have to be a genius to do this system right here. I promise you that. You don't have to be a genius to run this.
Okay, so 3 deals a month is 36 deals a year. Let's round that out. That's an easy number to work with, right? So 3 deals a month. How many letters do we need to send out if you want to reach 3 deals a month? Now, remember, guys, we talked yesterday about that the testing phase. During the testing phase, we send out 750 letters per county, 6 to 8 counties. So that's to establish and figure out which are my counties that I want to go after. And really that county selection is something we help allow. For those of you who already work with us, you guys know that we help you with that a lot. You're like those who work with us in one of our programs, you actually literally submit your county selection to us. Our team looks at it and gives you the thumbs up or adjustments, or tells you, no, this is not a good one. This is a good one. Might want to look at this, might want to look at change these, change that. And then so that you get to this first set of perfect counties, because that is the first domino. If you get those right, then you get the response rates, then you get the amount of phone calls coming in, then you make the amount of offers and then you get those deals coming in.
Mike,
If you get that wrong, right, and a lot of people who try this on their own get that wrong, and then guess what? They pick the wrong counties, they get very low response rate, they make very few offers, they don't get anything accepted, they get frustrated, they waste a year, and then they're like, this stuff doesn't work.
Mike,
While it
you
works.
actually had Megan Autry as, you know, one of your coaching students, where this is exactly what was happening. You know, they had spent thousands and thousands of dollars and basically had picked the wrong counties. And it was, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Megan's actually partners with her mom, right? Her mom said, you know what, Megan, come work with me. I got this fledgling business. I'm really struggling with it. Megan got into it and was like, man, I don't believe any of this. This isn't real. You know, like she was a rafting guide and she's like, Mom, this isn't real, but I'll humor you and I'll do it with you, you know? So they get in and start working together. And then I start working with them. And what we realized is they were just completely picking the wrong counties. You know, it was like, they were going all in on the bad counties, on a few bad counties, and they were having they got some deals out of it, which was surprising. But looking at their results, we just made a few small adjustments, and bada bing, bada boom, they ended up having massive success. You know, they both made more money in that year than they had ever made, right? And I think this year they're tripling that. Megan's a coach. I mean, they're probably at 40 deals their first year. I mean, it was.
Last time I talked to her, she was at way over $200,000 in the first year.
Right?
Yeah.
And now they're tripling that in the second year.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is this is the thing. We talked about their counties yesterday already, that they need to be in those 3 different areas, that they need to in the path of growth or larger and things like that. But obviously we'll talk about it a little bit more. So with that said, now once you're through that, and once you're once you're done that, and you identified once you made those tweaks that Mike just talked about, and you have your 2, 3, 4 great counties, at that point it is our expectation is usually that the student gets a deal for about like 700, 800 letters that they send out. Now it depends. If you're in the infill lot area, that number is absolutely substantially higher, because there's like because you're in the city and you're competing. In that case, you're actually competing with some builders and even fix and flippers who are now going after the infill lots because they can't find enough houses out there, right? But if you're in the path of growth or in the rural areas, then 700, 800 letters is often the number that once you in your sweet spot counties, in your great counties, will give you deal after deal after deal. So with that said, that means at 3 deals a month, 700, 800 letters, it means about 2,000 to 2,500 letters a month
3,000,
will get you, should get you then to about a $500,000 profit. Now, is that different than the 50 to 150,000 mailers that we talked about that the house flippers need to do? Guys, this is just not even the same ballpark.
We're not even on the same planet.
We're not even on the same planet here than the house flippers. Like, what would you rather do? Fight with competition all day long, have to have a cold calling team and a mailing peel and send out 50,000 to 150,000 letters, deal with tenants, toilets, and termites, deal with repairs, deal with estimates, deal with mortgages, with hard money lenders and things, or send out, once you go through that initial testing phase and really honing in phase that we work with our students with, and then you send out 2,000 to 3,000 letters a month, and you're on track to do potentially $300,000 to $500,000 in your profit. Now, who is in favor of A? Who's in favor of B? Like, hopefully there's a whole bunch of B's over here, right? So, right. So now, even if we can absolutely, Mike, even if we throw a little bit of a cautionary thing in there, is every deal that you get on a contract going to sell?
No.
No, not everyone is going to sell. Sometimes there's title issues that come up with. Sometimes there's 15 heirs and you can't track them all down, right? Sometimes it's just a crappy piece of property that occasionally comes your way that might just not sell. So even if we now take this and say, if we sell 3 deals a month, we might have to get 5 deals a month, right, Mike?
Well, yeah, 47 deals annually would be it. So close to 5 deals a month. You're right at the 4 deals a month, and that's the differentiation between the 3 and the 4. And that boils down to that's 3,000 letters a month going out. You know, if you reverse engineer it at a 3% response rate, that's 3,000 letters going out. You'll end up with 47 deals. On those 47 deals, you're going to end up with about, if you sell 70% of them, and I sell just above 70% of mine, you're going to end up with 33 deals sold and $500,000.
There we go. That's it. So there we go. I love the B, Carmen, by the way. And Jeffrey's asking how many offers to get one deal accepted, which is exactly the next question in the workbook right now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So now you're getting these, you send out 2,000-3,000 letters out, you get a 3-4% response rate. So you're now getting about 75 to 100 offer requests in a month. And here's the thing, on average, again, once you're through that beginning testing phase, which is so really crucial and such a thing, when Megan and her mom, they tried for a year on their own and they got that first part wrong, then they worked with us and then boom, the dominoes just fell.
Somebody says,
And-
numbers don't lie. Exactly.
There we go. Numbers don't lie. On average, once you're through that beginning phase and you honed in on your counties, you can expect to get a deal accepted for about 25, for every 25 to 35 offers you make, you can get a deal accepted. Now, by the way, once you dial that in more over time, right? When we work with our students for a year and we dial in over time, we dial that in more and more and more with proper follow-up system, with proper second, third offers, with things like that. You can get that down below 20 offers to get one deal accepted. So in other words, we have one of our students and a former coach, he's getting it down to about one deal for every 13 offers he's making. So therefore you can make a ton more, you can really turbo boost your results by honing in on those kind of things. And that's actually coming up as question number, as
Question
one of the
number
answers, the question number 4. So
Yeah.
I'll postpone the answer for that. But if you get 25 to 35 offers per deal, that puts you to, that means that you got to send enough letters out that you can make 75 to 100 offers a month. And when you do that, then again, you get your 3 to 4 deals a month, that even if you don't sell all of them, because some of them might just have too many, some of them might have issues. In reality, some people do give their properties away because they have issues. Many of them, though, just give it away because time and circumstances have changed. They might have bought this property over here as a property to build their
Some of
retirement.
them because they like my voice.
That
And I
too,
listened
that's
to
it.
all the stories that they had to tell me about all their family. And they
Right.
felt like, this was
Right.
I'm selling my piece of land to a good person and she's gonna put it to good use.
Absolutely, yeah. But other than that, but even there, usually there's a reason behind it. And the reason is often like, let's say a couple that bought a property, a lakeside property, lakefront property in a beautiful area to build their retirement home. But now they're in their 60s. And they realize that their grandchildren are born and they don't want to move away from the grandchildren anymore. Those little buddies are super cute and you can cuddle them and spoil them and then give them back at night and it's wonderful. So they like it's like having kids just be and then so they're like, I don't want to move away from my kids. I mean, I can't imagine when Sophia grows up, she's right behind here in her room. When she grows up, her school starts tomorrow. When she grows up and she has kids, I want to be close to the grandchildren, right? So their plans have changed and now they're sitting 1,000 miles away from a lot that they no longer want, right? And they perhaps have listed it with a bad realtor in a bad market at a bad time with a bad listing and it didn't sell. And now they're like, oh man, they're really, and they're sick and tired of paying property taxes. And now you come along and you offer them $8,000 for the $50,000 lot and they're like, well, $8,000 is better than nothing. They'll accept it. And then you turn around and sell that thing for $30,000 and make a $22,000 profit. That's what we do here. They're happy to get rid of the burden of property ownership, and the buyer is happy because they get a bargain, and you're obviously happy because you made 20 grand in the deal. Right? Does that make sense to everyone? Right? So
Are
again,
you guys awake? Hello?
yes,
Everyone
they're
there?
awake. Yeah,
Okay,
give us a
great.
heck yes if you guys are awake. Yes.
Okay.
So again, you make about 75 to 100 offers gets you those 3 to 4 deals, and then you do that. And now the beauty of that is even there, our offers are being made in writing by mail. We do not pick up the phone and call people and tell them that we're going to offer them $500 on their $10,000 property, right? And then we send it by mail because nobody else is racing to make them an offer like in the housing world, right? So as a result,
If they ask
again,
us to send it by email, we'll send it
Yeah,
by
we can
email,
send
but
it.
I also like it to send it, just by snail mail, because it is going to be a low offer. And if they don't like it, they don't have to right away, email me back or scream on the phone, are you crazy, woman? They can just, let it settle, discuss it with their family, and then come to the realization that, you know what? I have been sitting on this thing forever. I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
And they cool off And because it's in writing, they very coolly and calmly send the offer back, they sign it and send
Yeah.
it back in the mail.
They might even talk to their spouse, they
Or
might
their
talk to their
CPA.
kids, they might do the CPA, because actually if they sell it for less than they bought it, they might get a tax deduction from it because they incurred an investment loss, right? So they can do all these different things. There's letters that you can include on that. It's all perfectly already designed for you. And so then after a couple of days, they're like, you know what? I'll actually accept it because it's better to get rid of it and get something for it, right? So
Yes, we do some follow-up.
Yeah.
I think Matt is asking, we do.
yeah, this is actually coming up in the next question
Yeah,
exactly there. So that's exactly what we do. So you send these offers, we send them in writing. Again, what does it mean for your lifestyle, guys? It means that if you have 3 kids and a job, then you can go to your job, you can come home, take care of the kids, put the kids to bed, and then you do work on your offers.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to jump at the whistle of your sellers. You don't have to jump at the whistle of like these urgencies.
Yeah.
You design your business a lot around your lifestyle.
You
And
design
that-
your kind of like your structure rhythm of success, of what
Exactly
success
right.
is gonna look for you.
That's exactly right. Right. So then when we move, then how do you get these things to accept it? And it exactly goes into the question, do we follow up with them, right? First of all, it's about creative deal structuring and negotiations. So here's the thing, we don't have to negotiate often with our sellers, but it does help if you do, right? If they call back.
Especially if it's gonna be a $6-figure dollar, check, a 6-figure deal, which is what we want you to be in, going with the mindset, in the coaching program. Yes, you might start with a $15,000, $20,000 deal, or even a $5,000 deal. But our site is to get you up to mastery, to put in the repetition, those 10,000 hours that mastery requires, so that you can start iterating in zeros and start basically going after the higher price property. And those higher price property will require some negotiation, will require you being on the phone with the seller and the buyer. It will require even possibly some creative deal structuring in some way, shape, or form. When you now all of a sudden are faced with maybe a seller that has 20 lots, and how are you going to take them all down?
So we have structures for that we do a contract with a lot release clause and things like that. But that's more complex things that our coaches are obviously working with our students very closely on solving these things and getting them to deal. Like Bob and Beth, they just sold Probes. They just sold a couple of weeks ago an entire development with 80 single family homes, and they made $92,000 in that process. And that is obviously
Mike,
pretty
you
cool,
even
right?
help with the transactional funding, right?
Zero money out of pocket. They had zero money out of pocket on that deal. Yeah. I helped with the transactional funding.
Right. So right, and then exactly, there's zero money in the deal. Now, how did that happen? And we'll talk about that in a second too. But one question was like, when you send out the offer isn't a contract. This offer is an agreement. It's not just, hey, I would like to buy a property, call me. No, we actually send them a contract that they can sign, and it makes it a legally binding agreement for them. So yeah, so all of these things, there's the simple deals, there's the medium deals, there's the complex deals, and that's exactly all the things that we
And
cover
by the
here.
way, on my contract, don't change the contracts. We've spent already thousands of dollars, in lawyers and attorneys and in testing all of that stuff. It works. Do not mess it up.
That's exactly right. So
Just make sure that you change, from our name and our address and our phone number to your address and your phone number. Otherwise, I'm going to be getting your deals.
right. And so again, creative deal structuring, negotiation, and then also very, very, very important is the second answer to question number 4 is follow-up systems, guys. Follow-up systems. The deals, like you can get a deal without follow-up systems, but you can get masses of deals with the proper follow-up system. Like for example, one of our students sent out 1,800 letters a while ago and gotten one deal out of that. Once he was done following up, he had 11 deals out of that 1,800 letters. Isn't that crazy? 11 deals out of 1,800 letters. Now that's like basically, that's 150, 160, 170 letters per deal. That's not normal, guys, but it just shows you that in some scenarios, it's not typical, that in some scenarios, that's just shows the power of follow-up. So we have detailed follow-up systems that we show, that we do. We have you want to do a second offer and even a third offer. And Mike, you can talk about some of these things a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you send out that original letter if people don't respond, or if people do respond, like That's them saying, hey, look, their initial inquiry was, one, you spent money on it, right? You got them to call in. And then two, well, you have their contact information. So, well, and it depends on your lifestyle too. Let me say that, right? There are some people that I work with that say, you know what, I want to just send out this mail. I don't want to call people back. I don't want to schedule these things. And it works for them, but there are some people that really want to get in and get after it, right? And so we help them develop a follow-up system where they'll send out a ringless voicemail, right? Just to get people to respond, or they'll give them a phone call in the afternoon at 5 o'clock, right? Or they'll shoot them text messages or whatever, just to engage those people in a conversation. And when you engage them in a conversation, well, then you can really figure out what they want. Because sometimes, and this is not more often than not, I mean, we're looking for 5, 6, 7 out of 100 people to accept the offer, but there are a lot of people where you might be off by $1,000 and you have a lot of room to give them that $1,000, and you would never know it if you didn't just open it up to a conversation. And then a lot of them won't approach you for that conversation. I had a guy named Terry once that called me, and he left this crazy voicemail for us. And he's like, Mike, I want it. And I just gotten like 5 accepted offers on that campaign. So I was doing pretty well. I was making the right offers in that area. And so I was like, let me call this guy back, right? So I had this conversation with him, and he wanted like $600 more. He was like, I was expecting like, I don't know, it was like $600 instead of $4,900, or whatever. And I was like, well, let me see if I can make that work. I'll give you a call back. I call him back in 5 minutes, lock down the deal, sell it the next day, And there are so many of those experiences, but it's in the follow-up, right? But again, some people hands dirty, others are okay not doing that.
Yeah, and you have to be very systematic about this follow-up, because at the end of the day, this deal flow and lead generation, it can be a monster. But if you simplify, you can definitely multiply and still have a business where you're still enjoying the freedom that you start this business for. It's
Right.
that life rich and entrepreneurial freedom that we're all looking for.
Yeah, follow-up is a science too. Let's not, well, I mean, that's what you're saying, Michelle's right. Like, you'll never know the efficiency or effectiveness of your follow-up unless you have the dialed in system or you're working a system. Then you can judge its effectiveness, and then you can tweak, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're saying. I just other words.
Exactly right. And guys, on Friday, we're going to do actually a session with
Tracking What Matters.
Tracking What Matters, that Mike is going to go exactly to detail, even showing a spreadsheet that he uses and that our students are using too, that follows exactly where you track everything. You track it down to the exact cost per lead, to exact revenue per lead. It gives you the exact data that you can use then to actually go and say like, okay, I need to do more here and less over here, and really be able, it gives you like almost like a dashboard to go and know which way to take your business. So
And
it's
to
absolutely
anyone that
beautiful.
is inside of our coaching program, actually Mike does an in-depth training,
On that too,
on that
yes,
as well.
on them too. So,
Yeah.
so a couple of people ask again for me to repeat on number 4, what are the 2 key factors of the high acceptance rate? The number 1 is being willing and able to do creative deal structuring and negotiations. And number 2 is to have a follow-up system. And that even includes potentially blind offers. Now, there's lots of people out there that propose blind offers for these things. We don't use blind offers at the beginning because, as Mike said, you might be off by just $1,000. And by having that person, sending them a letter and having them call in first, you actually get a feeling for what they want. You get a feeling for how motivated they are, so you can customize your offers much closer to that person and to their needs, and get a much higher sort of response rate. But then once you know an area, and once you know that you can sell properties at $30,000 in that area day and night, and the first few deals you got on contract for $5,000, and you have a waiting list for properties at $30,000, now could you not go back to that same area and make offers for $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever you want in that area, as long as you still make your margin that you want, and get more and more deals in there? And in that case, since you know what you can sell them for, you can actually now go and do the blind offers in there too. Now, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, blind offers give you, they might give you the opportunity to go out there, very quickly, but miss, like Mike just said, a ton of people that could be right at the cusp, right at the threshold of an acceptance. And on top of it, just from a fundamental core principle point of view, it's incredibly transactional versus you actually sending a letter where you're trying to be of service and be and act basically in your business and behave in your business in a transformational way. You know, how are you gonna create rapport and really create a relationship with someone when the very first thing you send is a contract with a low offer versus actually talking to them, maybe creating some rapport with them, then sending them an offer, talking to them, and so on and so forth, you know? So that's another of the reasons. And I wanna be the change that I wanna see in the real estate space. And when we teach and when we, you know, have, you know, hundreds of people graduating our program, I want to know that part of my legacy was that you guys are showing up in the real estate space and making the real estate investors have a good reputation, not a bad reputation,
Right.
because there's a lot of bad stuff going on out there. And so we want you guys to basically really show up as who you are, because who you are truly matters, and how you operate with integrity in your business matters. And so that's also part of, in my opinion, why I love sending out the neutral letter first. It gives me the opportunity to be transformational, to give, you know, to have that reciprocity, you know, start that reciprocity with my seller, the same with a buyer, and so on and so forth.
Right. Absolutely right. By the way, I also want to cover a couple of other questions. Some people ask, like, well, with lots of people getting into land flipping, isn't there going to be a lot of competition? And let me address that only once in this week, because the answer is very simply no. Like, there is more full-time land flippers in the city of Phoenix, Arizona, full-time house flippers, I'm sorry. There's more full-time house flippers in the city of Phoenix, where we live, Phoenix, Arizona, where we live, than there is land flippers in the entire United States, or as a matter of fact, in the entire world out there, right? So it's very simply, there's more people there. So this is an absolute blue ocean out there. There's 3,007 counties. Even if there's 1,000 counties, let's just pick a huge number, there might not be the best counties in the world. There's 2,000 counties that you can go out there, and there's right now probably less than 2,000 people doing this full time. That means that on average, you are the only game in town in some counties. Now, are there some counties where there's a bunch of students working? Yes, absolutely. But even there, it's not more than probably 20, 30, 40 students that operate in an entire county. Right? There is multiple thousand people in Atlanta, in Denver, in Arizona, in Phoenix.
So don't make that
Chicago,
as an
in LA.
excuse and a reason to be stoppable.
There is
you know, you need to go in this with the mindset, you know, of a high performer, of being completely unstoppable. Yeah.
Right. And there's there's like, this is a ground level opportunity here, literally ground level opportunity. And even, by the way, do these house flippers that I know, do they do deals in this competitive environment? Heck yes. Yeah. I know a guy that just did 19 house flipping deals last month. 19 house flipping deals last month in this environment. So even if there would be competition, our methods would put you in the top of the crop in being able to just dominate your market. But there is no competition in most of the markets, and very, very little competition in just a few counties around the country.
And the cream always rises to the top.
So the cream always rises to the top, guys. So with that said, just wanted to get this out of the world once and for all. So, and a couple of other things. So items 4, there's actually a couple of bonus items I want to see. Like, what are key factors to acceptance rate? Obviously, price. Now, you want to use price carefully, right? You don't want to offer too much, because then you don't have a margin less to sell it. But as I mentioned, particularly once you're in the business for a while, you will realize that if you have an area where you have a waiting list for people to buy your properties at $30,000, and in the past you have offered $5,000 on those, you can now go higher. You can offer $7,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. So you can up your price, which then also is going to get you more deals, of course, right? But at the beginning, you want to be careful with that. And then also, obviously, you can offer options. We have different kind of things. You can offer options. You can offer contracts. You can do dual offers, where you offer both, giving them a choice and things like that. But that's all a little bit more advanced things that you can do. But there's plenty of ways that you can increase your acceptance rates if your initial acceptance rates are lower than you want them to be, right? So just wanted to make sure I mention that here. So now, question number 5: what systems do you need in place to manage your mailings, offers, acquisitions, marketing, sales? Well, we already talked about a lot of them. Number 1, you want to have a phone system. You do not want to take these sessions on your phone, right? You do not want to take these things on your phone, right? So you want to have a virtual phone system, which, by the way, also for our
that ties right into your cell phone.
yeah, it ties
Very
right
simple.
into cell phone. There's particularly for those who do this internationally, guys, because I want to remind you that this is a truly 100% virtual real estate method. You do not have to go see a piece of land. Nobody that you know needs to go see a piece of land. The sellers don't go see the piece of land. You do not have to meet the sellers. You do not have to meet the buyers. The buyers often go look at the property, but sometimes they buy even without seeing the property themselves. You send out letters, you get phone calls, you send out an offer, you get it accepted, you hire a title company, the title company does the work, the closing happens virtually, they send a virtual notary to you or to the seller, and the sale happens through a title company with the buyer wiring the money, the seller sending out, everyone sending the document in. It's absolutely 100% virtual, doable from anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, therefore, Christoph Graber, for example, from Germany, one of our coaching students, is on track to do $400,000 from Germany this year, 2021, without even being able to fly into the United States because of COVID rules.
Yeah.
Europe is still, the European Union is still not able to travel to the United States, right? So while in Germany, 100% virtual, not even be able to physically come to the US, he's doing $400,000. Now, the other question
Actually
is,
having a bonus session with him too.
Bear Matt is asking another question that I quickly want to address before we go into the last question, is that, do you do double closes? Yes. Another thing I want to really piggyback on what Mike said about Bob and Beth Probst and their deal where they made $92,000. They did that with zero money in the deal. And there's really 3 ways that you can do deals with no money in the deal. Who would like to know these three ways? Who would like? Anyone wants to know? Put it in the chat box. Give me a heck yes if you want to know. If you want to know how these 3 ways work, right? Okay,
yeah,
there we go.
They are awake. Woohoo!
All right, of course, we got a super active group. I'm super excited by how interactive and excited you guys are.
Yeah, and
so.
this is our first time, guys, doing it on Zoom. We've usually broadcast straight into the Facebook group, and yes, it was interactive there. But here we can actually see your faces, so it's awesome, and it's great to see it in the chat as well.
And I see that Facebook is also going crazy. So like Ross, Susie, Ellery, Terry, Barb, Ross, everyone wants to. They all want to. They want to know the answer too. So the first way to do this is by doing a double closing, guys. A double closing basically means that you have an agreement with the seller for $8,000. You have an agreement with a buyer for $30,000, right? And it's 2 different agreements, and you give both of these agreements to the title company. The title company writes up the paperwork and all the things for both of these transactions, sends out the closing documents to the seller as a seller, to you as the buyer, but also to you as the seller, because you're buying from the seller and you're selling to the buyer, right? So you have 2 sets of documents, and the buyer is this kind of document. But then the key is they're then asking only one person to send in money. And they're asking the buyer to send the $30,000 in plus closing costs, let's say like $32,000. So the buyer sends in $32,000. The title company keeps $2,000 of that. The title company sends the seller $8,000, and the title company sends $22,000 to you. You just made $22,000 without spending $1 on purchasing that property. Who is excited about that?
Ka-ching,
Right?
ka-ching.
Ka-ching,
Everyone
ka-ching,
should be
right?
excited. And everyone can do this, but you know what? At the end of the day, a lot of us want to have and be able to materialize this with ease. You know, from a deposit, from a bank, in my opinion, from a bank account where the skills are low, where the knowledge is low, where the experience is low. And so you need to build up on skill, on knowledge, on experiences, to be able to manifest these with ease, for sure.
Right. So that's the first way. The second way.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's just I always think of, withdrawals. You withdraw from a bank account that has money. So you withdraw from experience, from knowledge, from guidance, from a network, from peers, from a surrounding, from an environment that has that's where you withdraw from in order to be able to make these deals happen consistently, predictably, like clockwork.
So in order to withdraw from your own, in order to do these deals, what you need to build up is knowledge, guys.
Yeah.
Right? This knowledge. You don't need deals
And
to do.
experience.
You don't need money to do deals. Right? You do need to invest in your own education. Because once you have that education, you can do deals without money. Again, $92,000 in profit. I believe that was the number. Don't hold me to it. Bob and Beth Probst just 2-3 weeks ago did that without using a dollar of their own money. Now they did it either with a double closing or they did it with a second way, which is an assignment. You get a deal under contract with a seller for $8,000. Somebody wants to buy it for 30. You assign that contract. You sell that agreement over to somebody else for a $22,000 assignment fee. And now they buy from the seller. And in the closing process, you get $22,000 payment without even having bought the property. That is right. That is the second way. Again, zero money in the deal. You found the deal, you found the buyer, you assigned the deal over to the buyer, you get paid in the middle, right? You get paid an assignment fee. The third way is that you find somebody that gives you the money for a day or 2 days. That's called transactional funding.
Yeah.
Now, in this particular deal that Bob and Beth did, I think, Mike, you provided the transactional funding even, right? Because Bob and Beth are part of our coaching program. So our team, we have multiple coaches that even helps provide the funding for some of these deals. So they basically needed a certain amount of money. They had the buyer lined up. Everyone had signed the paperwork, but the title company didn't allow a double closing. They wanted the buyer to actually fund the deal. So the buyer borrowed the deal from Mike for a day, borrowed the money from Mike for a day. Mike got a fee for that. The next day, the same day they sold the property to the other guys, and in the process, so the money came back. Mike got paid back with a fee, and they made $92,000 in the deal. Have you guys gotten the gist of that? Right? Who is confused about that? Let me quickly know. If you're confused about that, let me know. If you're confused about it, also reach out. If you're confused about it, then reach out to your concierge. They can explain this again because they all are our concierges.
They're all doing it.
Most of them are doing deals. Like Michael and David are full-time land flippers, and they have used assignments, double closing, transactional funding multiple times. They can actually explain it some more time. But again, that's not.
Did the buyers give a deposit?
Yes, buyers usually give a deposit in there, but the title company holds that money. But again, usually it's double closings or assignments is most of the deal. In some cases, you need transactional funding, where there's a short-term lender like Mike, like us, like some of our other coaches come in, give the money for a day, right? It's $100,000 purchase price, and you sell it for $160. They give you the $100,000, or they give the title company the $100,000 for a day. The next day, they get paid back, say $102,000. And you get the $150,000, so you make $48,000 that you wouldn't have made without being able to tap into that network. That's what we're talking about. And Duana, you're right, much easier than with houses. Now, all of these things you can do with houses. Just with houses, you're dealing with repairs, with estimates, with hard money lenders. We're dealing with all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, just leave the dark side and come over to the light side, man. Just cross over. Leave that behind. That just like Mike Smyer said.
And Cyril, these methods, they simplify and streamline the escrow process. They do not replace it. You still work with a title company, and that's actually the beauty of it. You don't have to know how to draw up a deed. You don't have to know how to draw up these documents. All you need to do is get it on a contract, then work with us. If you're in our coaching program, work with your coach on what's the best way of flipping this property, and then use the paperwork that's already there, give it to the title company. The title company then does the work, and you just sign papers and get paid. Who's ready to sign papers and get paid, guys? Right? Who wants that? That's what we're talking about here, guys. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So question number 5, what systems do you need in place to manage your mailings? We talked about the phone system, right? Then you need a virtual phone number. You don't want to use your cell phone number for that, because it's you don't want all these phone calls to come into your cell phone. You want to have a virtual phone system that you can redirect the phone number to a call center. Ideally, you need a CRM, right, which we have already. You need a mailing house to send the letters out for you. And these are really just best practices that you want to implement right from the very beginning. Mike, you want to add something to those?
Yeah. PO box, so that way people don't send you mail directly to your homes. Good to set up, or a virtual PO box if you're out of the country or just don't want to set up a PO box. There are services that handle all of that stuff for you. They'll take a scan of your mail and email it to you. So that's on the offer side. On the acquisition side, right? Just a phone number to be able to handle acquisitions when people call in. And marketing, on the marketing side, yeah, well, it's setting up and sitting down and understanding how to create a great marketing piece, having a Facebook account, having a Zillow account, where we market properties. And we'll go into that. I think, what day is that where we talk about marketing
Thursday, we
properties?
talk about, it's all about selling, and we talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well.
Yeah, but
That's gonna be
Yeah,
gold.
yeah.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
gold.
make
for
sure
you
you're there
guys.
tomorrow and Thursday, and then obviously Friday, Mike comes back and shares with us how to track what matters. So really, all sessions this week are crucial, particularly Thursday with where we go into really how to sell these properties. Now, I want to cover quickly two additional things that are not even bonus parts that we haven't talked about so much. Now, how do you make your offer? I really covered that already a little bit. I want to just repeat it one more time. Number one, we make those offers in writing.
Yeah.
Right? We make those offers in writing. We send them out by mail. We give them about 7 to 10 days to accept the offer, because we account for U.S. Postal Service mail. We account for them to sit around and talk to their spouse, talk to their kids, to think, and really like think about it. So again, this is not like sitting at a kitchen table with somebody who has a house, trying to slam them into something, make them use all these kind of emotional triggers to make them cry, to get another $10,000 discount, and all those things the house flippers do. No, it's just sending an offer. We're dealing with people who don't want these things anymore.
Yeah.
We're dealing with people who don't get the non-wanters. They don't care about them anymore. They have the garage sale mentality. Like, they're willing to give away the $1,000 bicycle for $100. Like, it's the equivalent of that. They're willing to give away their $50,000 piece of land for 10 grand. And you don't even have to use the money to buy it, because of what I just said, double closing assignments and transactional funding. You can do those deals without using any of your money. And so it really is the perfect business, guys. And then, so you make those offers that way. Now, how do you know what offer to make? Well, you do value analysis. Now, how to value the property, we'll talk about it tomorrow, I believe, a little bit more. But just to think, the first thing is there's 5 different ways that we teach to make to do the value of a property. One is just quickly rattle them off. One is just simply comparable sales. Like websites like Zillow, they list for what properties in the area have sold for in the vicinity, right? Another one is like listed comparables. Another one is by the acre size. Like if you're in the rural areas, you sometimes have to adjust by acres. If there's something, if yours is a 20-acre property and there's only 10 and 40 acres, you can adjust for that, right? Another one is assessed value. In some markets, assessed value, or most markets, the assessed value has a relationship to market value. And the last one is particularly for the infill lots, you actually take into consideration the house values in the area, because the value of the land is a percentage of the house value in the area. We'll talk about it some more tomorrow, but just want to let you know that usually they're quick to learn, and once you understand how to value the land of the property, you can value a property usually in about 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, you got the value of the property, and then you go and you make your offer.
So if you're right
again,
now overwhelmed, frustrated, can't sell deals, you don't know what to do, with people calling you back and not being able to come up with a good offer, it's time to upgrade. It's time to amplify your results, and we're here for you. And we are excited that you guys right now are getting pretty much, everything that you need. And if you wanted to carry on this journey with us, of course we do. Somebody had posted earlier, if there's something here that we're gonna be making available to you, of course we want to make something available to you. We have been also the really the consumers of coaching, and we know what is out there in the industry, and we know that the biggest thing that is missing is actually, a company that actually cares, a company that actually fights for your dreams. We know that what's missing out there is accessibility, accountability, is having access to people like Mike Smyer on a daily basis, every single day. It's a systematic approach to creating really millionaire makers, to churning out success. Every single day we wake up to success stories inside of our coaching program. So yeah, if you wanted to do something with us, we will talk about that later. But this week is about giving you guys all the tools that you're gonna need. And if you decide that, we are a good fit for you, you can come along, of course.
And if not, then not. That is fine, right? So so therefore, guys, again, this is all about creating your own revolution, guys.
Yeah.
This is about you have the potential to create the income, the business, the wealth, the peace of mind that is not depending on the world outside of you, right? That's what this is all about. And we want to push that stone on. We want to bring that ball into. We want to give you that kickstart.
Momentum.
We want to create that momentum in your life. And that's why we have homework for today again. And that's why I'm super excited that many of you already selected your counties. And if you haven't, today's homework is what, Michelle?
Today's homework, actually, the homework post is going to be coming up right after the live.
And by the
just
way,
give
we
me a
all,
second.
while
The
Michelle looks it
homework
up,
post is, what types of areas will you focus on and where will you acquire your list? So basically, the types of areas will depend on whether you're going for an infill lot, a path of growth type of property, or recreational land. And then where will you acquire your list? My suggestion is, as you go and do this homework and you basically, we're done with this live, is to pick, like Jack said, 6 to 8 counties. Ideally, I would say across 2-3 different states. I would pick them across 2-3 different states so that we don't put all our eggs in one basket. Yeah. So we can see where is going to, the best results are going to be yielded from, which after that testing phase is done. So what types of areas will you focus on and where will you acquire your list? And every single one of us is actually going to be inside of that homework post, really guiding you, asking you to pivot if you need to pivot based on your answers, because this is critical right now. Like today, like it starts getting real. The actual implementation and execution of getting to the first deal is in play. The ball is rolling. Let's get going. Let's not be, stoppable by whatever might happen in our life. Let's recommit to being here every single day, to doing the homework and giving ourselves the gift of presence this week, because what is a week in an entire lifetime? If you've
particularly if that week can change the trajectory of your life, right?
Exactly.
It's time to think about abundance. It's time to think about expansion. It's time to think about mastery. And for that,
and
remember
about not
your,
being chickens, but eagles, right,
Right.
Max Meyer?
right, we'll
That's
talk
right,
about that
that's
perhaps on
right.
Friday or Thursday. But the
Can I
thing
say
is
something real
also,
quick, Jack?
remember,
Mike
even,
is
okay,
saying
Mike, go ahead.
Look, guys, I just want you guys to take a second, just look around though. The Renaissance happened way back when, right? Medieval days. The Industrial Revolution happened just a few hundred years ago here in the United States and across seas, right? We've, over the past 20, 30 years, we've been the participants in another revolution, the technological revolution, right? Where you can do something from anywhere, right? And this is what drew me to this system, guys. This is, and I have so much to thank you you, Jack, and you, Michelle, for, because you guys allowed me to be a participant in that revolution. And Jack, you talk about this all the time to us coaches, right? About the Industrial Revolution and whatnot. But I felt the need to mention it, guys. Think about the millions and billions of dollars that are being created. And you see it in the news every single day. You see Elon Musk, you see Jeff Bezos, you see Bill Gates, all through technology, being able to just expand business. And you see small business owners expanding at a rate faster than has ever happened before. Hypergrowth. And with ease, it's happening, guys. That's why we're being able to take people that have made $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 as a teacher and put them in a place where they're making $500,000 or $1 million as a daggum land.
Like quantum leaps in income that would otherwise have taken them years if they would have stayed as a teacher,
Yeah, I just want you guys to think about that tonight as you're doing your homework, right? Think about what's happening around you, right? Think about this revolution that's happening and make a decision to be a part of it. So that's all I wanted to say.
So again, it's time to think about abundance. It's time to think mastery. So even if you have worked 60 hours a week, as I hope I explained today, that you can still fit this in because you can design it around your lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So this can work for you. You got to do it the right way. So also think about your why, right? You think about your why. We had that yesterday. Make that part of it. If you haven't done yesterday's homework yet, if you haven't really crystallized your why, make sure you tap into that. Make it big, stack it, come up with big reasons that why you finally need to step forward and do this. I always compare it to the wedding thing. If you if you get engaged, right, and you get engaged and your wedding is like in 9 months from now, and you need to lose 30 pounds in order to look absolutely beautiful in your wedding gown or in your wedding suit, right? No discrimination here. So like in your wedding suit, and you look but the 20 years before, every New Year's Eve, you go like, it's like ka-ching, New Year's resolution is what? Lose weight. But for 20 years, you never lost weight, right? For 20 years, you never lost weight because you didn't have a big enough reason behind it. Now the wedding is coming up and it's finally a big enough reason for you to think, and it overshadows every other reason in the world. And you're like, oh my God, I gotta look my best. And all of a sudden you do the things that are necessary to lose the weight and look your best on your wedding day. That's how you want to create a why. Once you have that why in front of you, the steps to do, the resources to find the resources to make it happen is going to happen. So focus on that why. But like find that why and then lay out what your counties are, where you're gonna get your list from. And by the way, on the technical side of things, do not share with us, I wanna go into this county, that county. Just share with us the type of counties, rural, path of growth, or in the city, and then tell us where you're gonna get the list from, either from a list from a list service, or from the county, or from a title company. Go do that. Put that in there, but for yourself on your own sheet, you write down the counties that you want to select. You do that next step. You get those lists already because we want to get you into action. We want you to this week already, if possible, send out those first letters, get that ball rolling and get things going. Okay. With that said, guys.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Mike, for being here with us. Thank you to the entire team. Thank you every single one of you that shows up. You know, you're part of that top 1%. Because the number one thing in success is actually showing up, and you guys are here. So thank you so very much. Looking forward to being with you and spending time with you
and see you tomorrow.
Thank you for letting us into your home, your office, your car, wherever it is that you're listening to us from. So thank you so very much.
And thank you on Facebook too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.